Is it possible to build a global criminal empire using nothing but a smartphone and a basic understanding of corporate logistics? The answer is currently fueling an underground economy worth more than some small nations' GDPs. We are investigating the rise of the returns mafia, a group of tech-savvy opportunists who have industrialized the art of the fraudulent refund. This journey takes us from the dark web to the heart of the world's largest fulfillment centers to reveal the high-stakes thriller happening every time you click Request Return. In this investigation, you will see how Amazon returns fraud evolved from a simple hobby into a professionalized service. First, we examine the sophisticated code and social engineering used to bypass security. Next, we explore the subscription models where professional scammers handle your logistics for a cut of the profit. The digital architecture of modern retail rests on a single, fragile promise: the smooth return. You click a button, a label is generated, and your money is theoretically back in your account before the package even leaves your porch. This convenience was designed to build consumer trust, but in the hands of organized syndicates, it has become a wide-open gateway for systematic extraction. What began as individual opportunists claiming a package was lost has mutated into a high-octane industry where neon-lit Telegram channels and encrypted forums serve as the headquarters for a new breed of white-collar predator. These groups have mapped every vulnerability in the automated systems that manage billions of transactions, turning a customer service feature into a primary revenue stream for a global shadow economy. To understand the scale of this operation, you must look at the sheer volume of data moving through Amazon's logistics network. Every second, thousands of return requests are processed by algorithms designed for speed, not skepticism. The returns mafia exploits this by employing social engineering experts who know exactly which keywords trigger an automatic refund without human intervention. They utilize specialized software to spoof geolocation data and manipulate tracking numbers, creating a digital smokescreen. This makes it appear as though a high-value item has been returned to a warehouse when, in reality, the box is empty or filled with sand. This isn't just a series of small-time scams. It is a professionalized, industrialized assault on the infrastructure of global commerce. The transformation of this loophole into an enterprise relies on the refunding-as-a-service model. Professional fraudsters now offer their expertise to the general public, taking a 30% cut of the successful refund. They provide step-by-step instructions on how to order $5,000 workstations or designer electronics and then hand over the account credentials to the professional who executes the fraud. The result is a billion-dollar drain that forces retailers into a desperate AI arms race. As you watch the digital overlays of code and logistics maps, you realize that the battle for the core of e-commerce isn't happening in a boardroom, but in the silent, automated exchanges between a criminal's script and a corporate server. To understand the evolution of this shadow economy, you must look at the professionalization of deception through a model known as refunding as a service. This is no longer a solo operation where a single user tries to trick a customer service agent. Instead, a new class of digital middlemen has emerged, operating sophisticated storefronts on encrypted messaging apps where they offer fraud as a subscription or a percentage-based service. You provide them with your order details, and for a fee, usually 20 to 40% of the item's value, these professional refunders take over your account to execute a high-level social engineering attack. They utilize a massive database of internal retail policies, knowing exactly which representatives are most likely to grant a no-return refund and which specific product categories have the weakest tracking oversight. The infrastructure of these services mirrors a legitimate tech startup. You will find dedicated support teams, tiered pricing for different retailers, and even loyalty programs for frequent fraudsters. These syndicates employ boxers and callers who specialize in specific parts of the heist. A boxer might provide you with a manipulated shipping label that uses a technique called FTID or fake tracking ID. This involves altering the barcode or the address on a return label so that the shipping carrier system marks the package as delivered to the warehouse, while the physical box actually ends up at a different, untraceable location. Meanwhile, the professional caller handles the verbal negotiation with the retailer, using prepared scripts and psychological pressure to force an immediate credit to your original payment method. The scale is staggering, with some groups processing millions of dollars in fraudulent returns every month. They target high liquid assets like high-end graphics cards, designer handbags, and premium smartphones because these items have a high resale value on the secondary market. By treating fraud as an expandable business, they have lowered the barrier to entry for the average consumer, effectively outsourcing the risk and the technical expertise required to steal from global corporations. This industrialized approach creates a massive volume of ghost inventory, products that the system believes have been returned and restocked, but which have actually been diverted into the hands of the mafia or kept by the consumer. The trail of a fraudulent return does not end when the digital credit hits a bank account. Instead, it marks the beginning of a devastating journey into the heart of a global environmental crisis. When you look at the sheer volume of goods moving through the reverse logistics pipeline, you see a system that was never designed to handle the weight of industrialized fraud. Because the cost of inspecting, cleaning, and restocking a returned item often exceeds its actual value, millions of products are diverted into a secondary market of liquidation pallets. Here, the waste mafia takes control, purchasing massive quantities of unverified returns for pennies on the dollar to sift through the wreck. What remains, the broken electronics, the counterfeit replacements, and the literal trash used to spoof package weights, is funneled into a shadow disposal network that spans continents. You can trace this toxic trail from high-tech fulfillment centers to illegal dumping grounds in Southeast Asia and West Africa. In these regions, the sophisticated fraud committed in a digital interface manifests as a physical nightmare. E-waste from fraudulent returns is often burned in open-air pits to extract precious metals, releasing lead, mercury, and flame retardants into the local groundwater. This is the hidden cost of the smooth economy. Organized crime syndicates find it cheaper to pay wildcat dumpers to make thousands of tons of unsellable plastic and silicon disappear, rather than following legal recycling protocols. These illegal landfills are not just eyesores, they are environmental crime scenes where the debris of e-commerce convenience is buried in secret. The scale is staggering, with research indicating that billions of pounds of returned goods end up in landfills annually, a significant portion of which is driven by the churn of the returns mafia. As AI-driven fraud detection begins to flag these suspicious patterns, the syndicates respond by diversifying their disposal routes, often using front companies to ship donations that are actually containers of hazardous waste. Every time a professional refunder successfully exploits the system, they are not just taking money from a corporation. They are adding another layer of non-biodegradable waste to a global stockpile that the planet cannot process. This is the final, gritty reality of the shadow economy. A mountain of discarded tech and plastic rising in the dark, far from the polished screens where the crime began. The battle against Amazon returns fraud has escalated into a permanent AI-driven arms race.